What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about a Scream 7 rumor that I'm really upset that I actually managed to see. Now, look, I'm more on my guard, as we've talked about and as we've seen before. When I got up close to Scream 6, I actually avoided, the nuke that was online of showing the freaking clip, right? It was shown everywhere, and I actually avoided it like the plague, and I think I did a really good job. Gonna pat myself on the back. I was not ready. I didn't have my guard up. I'm a martial artist, but I wasn't ready for this. There's a pretty big rumor that honestly, cutting through all of what I've just said, I really didn't want to know this. I don't know how it's going to affect, kind of the lead up. Guess it's something that we're just going to have to experience. But I will say, if you don't want to know, I'm going to warn you right now. I'm going to talk about it, and I'll try to keep it kind of to myself going forward. Kind of base, each video and each live stream and stuff that I do. If it makes sense to say it, I'll give a warning. I'll say it. If not, we'll move on. But okay, you ready? So if you don't want to know a pretty huge rumor about Scream, that's not just a rumor. I think it is going to be true. Turn away now. Ready? 3, 2, 1. The rumor is that there will be more than 2 killers once again. And this comes from Daniel RPK. Now, if it was from anybody else, I could fool myself into thinking that maybe they're just wrong, right? But, the guy, he knows everything. He knows the scripts. He knows the characters. He knows the casting 2, 3, 4 days before it ends up happening. I don't know why this is... 1 second here, okay? Just in terms of, venting and just kind of, letting out some frustration. You can argue, look, we put ourselves out there. We're on the internet, and it's not necessarily the rumor's fault that it makes. In fact, you could partially blame the people. I could blame myself, and I do agree generally with that line of thinking. People put themselves out there to potentially get spoiled, and they need to kind of own up to some of that themselves. But at the same time, part of that's true. The other side of things, though, is that this movie is a year away. We are talking about rumors when it comes to the cast, right? We're saying, oh my God, Patrick Dempsey is confirmed to be in it, even though he's not actually confirmed. The rumor is he is. Yes, he's a really lovable character. I think obviously a lot of people would be really excited to have him back, but that is not something that is the biggest thing of all time, especially to leak. Especially to say it early. So, yeah, we're on the internet. I guess I get that side of... And I saw people saying, you should really mute the word killers, on Twitter and stuff. And, again, I think that's partially true. But the thing is, the movie doesn't come out for 13 more months. Why are we spoiling how many ghost faces there are in the movie? You know what I mean? So, I just kind of want to get a little mad at that for a second. And mad at Daniel RPK. What are you doing talking about that stuff? And that stuff that, I would actually say from Spyglass and all, I wouldn't want that out. I wouldn't want anybody to know how many. That's a huge part of it. Look, the identity is a huge part of it, of who they actually are. We've talked about some early predictions and stuff, but how many is also a big thing, because you're watching the trailer, you're watching the movie live, and at least me, I think some Scream, diehard fans do it. You're taking stock, right? You're saying, okay, where are these characters when these things happen? We've done it for Scream 5 and 6. I actually think it makes the movie rather fun to say, okay, we don't know how many there are, so you really got to keep in your mind, okay, well, where were these characters when certain things were happening, right? It's actually something they did not do well at all with Jack Champion in Scream 6. I think they did it actually kind of awful, right? It was very obvious, even from just character placement, that he had to be one of the killers. You didn't know there were necessarily 3 of them. So, I don't know, just to kind of get that off my chest, why are we saying it 13 months before the movie comes out? Honestly, why are we saying it at all? When it comes to leaks about these movies, you generally don't tell people who Ghostface is, and you generally don't tell people how many there are. Those are just kind of unwritten rules that you just flat out don't say. So, I don't know. Look, I've always respected him in terms of he has knowledge. I don't really care about the guy in any other way. Definitely have lost respect, if I had any to begin with. Definitely have lost a lot of respect for the guy now. See, he just doesn't care. I guess that's fine, but it's well, why are you doing it? I just don't think that's good at all. And then it spread, and I just kind of freaking walked into it, on Twitter. Now, I want to say one other thing before I end this video. For me, I think an early idea, right, would be, okay, you're going to have more than 2. That doesn't actually necessarily mean 3. 3 is an option, but it could be even more than that. If you do 3, or even say you do 4, I really like the idea of eliminating a Ghostface early. This is something we talked about going back, I think, to Scream 6, right? The idea of, we already had a little bit with Scream 6, right? Like Ghostface kills, and then a Ghostface kills a Ghostface. I like that. I like that they did it. I mean, it has maybe some problems in retrospect, but they did what we were kind of like wanting them to do for a very, very long time. When it comes to a different spin on that, and actually, I mean, if you want to say it, and I think we have said it before, Scream 6 technically had at least 4 Ghostfaces. Technically, it had 5, but you just didn't see, you know, the costume or the outfit with the 5th, right? So, I mean, technically, we have more than 3. So if we have it again, as long as you do, and I like the idea, if you have an opening attack and Ghostface dies in the opening attack, I think that would be real. And that's something, you know, we'll probably make videos of as we get closer and closer. I love that idea because not only does it shake up the formula of the opening of the movie, right? The opening of the movie is generally the same. 5 kind of did a play on that. And then 6 really, I think, changed it up. Okay, well, this would definitely change it up because now not only are people surviving, but actually the killer gets killed. But the second part to that would be you just killed off a Ghostface, which is similar, I guess I would say, to Scream 6, but maybe make them more integral, right? Where, like, they lost whoever this group of Ghostface is. There's 3 of them. Well, now there is only 2 throughout the whole movie because you took out 1 in the beginning, but that means something, you know, to those 2 others. In 6, those 2 in the beginning didn't matter at all. In fact, they were more like copycat, right? Bailey didn't want them as part of it, so they took them out. So again, I like elements of that, and I like elements of, you know, what I'm saying right now. Those are just some early kind of thoughts. I would say play around with it. Reveal a killer early. Kill off a killer early. Kill off a killer in the opening. Any of those kind of things, you know, you could say going in, okay, well, we have 3 killers, but if you take one out right away, okay, it goes back to just having 2, which I think is more in line. I don't know. 3 killers is also really tough to keep the whole movie because you have to do things like Scream 6 did, which I think was one of, if not the most obvious of all the Ghostface reveals, right? Like Quinn, maybe, but if you're, I don't know, if you've been around for a while, you can kind of sniff out like a fake death, right? So like she might have caught people off guard, might not have. The other 2, obvious. Some of the most obvious that we've ever gotten in all of Scream. So that's what happens when you have 13 characters, they're all dying. You have your core group, they can't be Ghostface. You have supporting characters, they're being killed off. You only have a couple left, and you need 3 of them to be Ghostface. It doesn't really work. So that's why I think it does need to actually be 1 or 2. And then if you do have 3 or more, as you know, the rumor now is, I think you need to take them out closer to the beginning than later on. Those are just some early thoughts. I'm sure we'll talk about it more in the next 13 months. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.